Hi everyone, welcome to the Charvita show. As usual, I'm always excited, right? And I have today Master Soo Hoo. Some of you know him as Guruji, some of you call him Master. He has many different names, and I'm not going to spend too much of time uh, talking about that because I want to bring him right on. So, hi Master, how are you?
Hi, good evening. I'm good. I'm good.
I hope you're doing well. Before we start, I want to read to you guys some of the things I've picked up from different people talking about Master Soo Hoo. So Jackson Ng says he's a master trainer that you call a friend. So you can see the whole, usually when you hear masters like authority figure, bow down sort of thing. I was so intrigued by him. I drove all the way to meet him face to face. I'm intrigued at how he manages to keep his energy, bridging thousands of trainers to opportunities by using his platform. Do you know who said that? Hani Razaev.
Ah,
A selfless guru, Venkat says. Brilliant, generous, mischievous. I completely agree. Mischievous. Philanthropist, mentor, lifelong learning, all in a human called Suhu.
this
I
one
like
JLo.
how. Do you know who that is?
JLo.
Who?
Is it JLo? Janita? No.
Taufik.
Oh,
If JLo confirmed there's the word Guruji in it, definitely when she speaks about you. So there are many different names that people call, people fondly call you by. And I think anyone who's met you always gets that warm feeling. As unfortunately for me, I've never met Master Suhu face to face, but I attended one of his courses for 5 days, and I was very apprehensive, being the person I am. But I think his energy, right? He's warm, very down to earth, and as you will see today, hopefully I'm able to like peel him a little further so you guys see the inner workings of him. Usually when you associate anyone with NLP, it's very hard. They do that very well with you, but the other way around, I don't know. We'll have to see today. We'll really have to see. So tell us about yourself, Master Suhu. If there's one word to describe you, right? What would your children describe you as? Choose one of your children and tell me how would they describe you. We've
uh,
heard from people who
how
have
I
worked
like
with
to be
you.
described is different than what they will describe, though.
No, what do they describe you by? Because usually we see from the outside, right, the professional view, how
Weird.
colleagues or business partners. What about your child?
I think they will describe me as weird. um,
Why?
I I I think both my wife and I, we have a very different relationship with our kids. We are very friendly with them, and I always joke that fortune tellers say I have three kids. Fortune tellers tell my wife she has four kids, sometimes right in front of me. And I totally agree. I tell them like I totally agree. They go, yeah, why Yeah, because she has four, including me. So I think we have a nice friendly relationship with the kids. So um, and if you see me, I'm very different from in a corporate life and also in my family life in terms of how I dress, in terms of how I act. I mean, I have no qualm sitting down on the floor reading a book. Can be by the roadside or eating a meal. I'm very um, like a market brought up in that sense. And so when I call out my kids or when I go and visit them in school, there's a lot of like just a friend looking for them kind of a feel. So I think that makes them feel a bit weird because their friends' parents don't seem that way. But of course, we still have our boundaries, lah.
Yeah, of
Just
course.
in case they're listening in, they better make sure they know.
So they no playing, no playing, no play play, right?
Mm,
So you talk if we talk about upbringing, right? If you said you have like that professional side, then with your kids you're like a different person.
mm,
Like for me personally, right, people who knew my background, like what was my background previously, like when I'm teaching, if I open my mouth and say I'm a teacher, none of my high school friends like believe me. So how is it for you with people you grew up with, right? Can they like align to what you do? Like how is it like when you meet them? Can you share with us?
The thing is, when I meet up with my school friends, right? We don't talk about now.
Talk
We
about
probably,
before, right?
reminisce about the good old days, right? Like every year we repeat the same stories, right? Like, okay, you told that story last year, now my turn to tell this story. And I think we have never really spoken about our career development. Um, and oh, will they will they imagine me who I am today? I doubt it.
It's
you know?
interesting where we were and where we go, right, in our journey
Yeah,
of
yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did you ever imagine, like even growing up or even when you were in your teens or young adulthood, that you would be doing what you're doing now, training, doing
Never,
NLP?
never. When I was young, I always wanted to just be a business person, and I want to be a millionaire. That's it. That was my only
Millionaire.
goal. There's the only goal in life, right? Um, and then I achieved it in the timeline that I want to, and then I failed in my business, and
Mm.
I have to rebuild. And in the process of rebuilding, I built a network marketing team, and but I felt very disconnected with what I was doing. So I was searching for what to do next, and I had an opportunity to be a head of training for a contact center in KL. At that time, I was still in Penang, and I wasn't sure what to do. I was very lost. I just know that I'm not very happy in doing the network marketing business. Um, so I went randomly to a church one day, and I sat down. Interestingly enough, it was a random church that I don't normally attend, and they had a visiting pastor. That means a random pastor as well, right? He's not the original pastor of that
So
church.
this is in Penang.
This was in Penang, and
Okay.
it was like completely randomness of it all. And the pastor's message for that day was, the purpose in life is to uncover the seed of human potential. So after the service, I went home. I told my wife, I'm leaving to KL. I'm going to be the head of. I'm going to take up the job as a head of training for a contact center. So I moved down to KL 2 years before my family did, and every weekend I'll just travel back.
So just
Because
based on that, just based
yes,
on that.
because I felt that at that juncture, right, if I'm wondering what I want to do between training, developing human potential, right, uncovering the seed of human potential,
Mm.
and continuing in network marketing, which is a lot of sales, a lot of, yeah, building people, but this is more directly related to the message. And I felt very strongly about that. And that's why I came down to KL. And that has set me on the path ever since. You know.
So talk to me about this seed
Mm,
of human potential. Let's go a little bit deeper, right?
mm,
What
mm.
at that point it moved you or urged you or nudged you,
Yeah.
maybe not nudged lah, probably kicked you because it's quite a huge move, right? So it kind of
Mm,
kicked you to like make such a huge move to accept a job. And I know, I mean, having lived in Penang, I know that
mm.
it's very hard to live Penang.
Yeah,
Like
it's very,
just
very
the
hard.
food, the comfort, knowing where everything is so nearby, right?
Yeah.
So you've been pushed,
Mm,
like for
mm,
me, I feel like this divine hand pushed you to KL.
mm,
And KL, of course, is a whole different ball game. But
mm,
if you go deeper into it, right, what
mm.
did that seed of human potential mean to you then? And how has that understanding of that word, right, changed? Or how has it helped you in that whole development for you?
Okay. So uncover the seed of human potential. What it means to me is that the purpose in my life is to help others not have the same problem I had. Okay, that means, the failure in business, the wrong decisions I made, the mistakes, all of that, right? So my job, or my calling is to go out there and help and inspire people so that they don't go through the same kind of journey I went through. It was
Mm.
a very difficult journey, right? So that was what it meant. And unfortunately, when I first started out in the career, I went to accept a job as a head of training, which meant was a corporate job, right? And I was stuck behind a desk, for about 2.5 years of my life, 2.5 years of my life,
So were you
managing.
pushing a lot of people? Were you actually meeting people?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In fact, I actually sent out an email. I don't believe I'm finally a paper pushing, email CCing.
You did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Woohoo!
A paper pushing, email CCing. So for 2 years, I got stuck, right?
So
And if
you
you've ever
went
been to
from you went from someone which is from more towards sales, so
yeah,
you
yeah.
needed to be on the ground meeting
Mm,
people,
mm.
which could have been defined as relating to humans, right? And then
Yeah, yeah,
now,
yeah, yeah. And
did
for
you
two
like
years,
at that time like go like, why did I take that job? Why am I sitting here? Why did I move?
it was very weird actually because I've never been in a contact center environment, and for the first time in my life, for about 2.5 years, I had no window. Like literally, I look around me, everything is walls, right?
Are
From sales and my own business, and I'm like running all over the place to like walls, literally like just walls everywhere. And for the first 6 months, I didn't because I have not been in the corporate environment for so long. I didn't dare to ask my IT for the Wi-Fi password, and I was stuck in the middle of a building. I don't even have internet access. Like literally, I'm just computer screen, four walls every day. It was horrible. you know. Uh, but at that time, the kind of work that we did was very meaningful. The kind of clients that we worked with was very meaningful, and um, the country manager that I worked for was very, very helpful and beneficial to what I needed at that juncture to become a better trainer, to become a better person. And
and what was that? Can you share with us?
I used to be a very flexible, on the fly kind of guy. And I mean, you have been to my class. I'm like, let's wing it, man. We kind of like a structure, but let's wing it. And so my slides, my materials were very much Frankenstein. Like I did a program here, so I got to take some contents from there. And sometimes the alignments don't match, the
Mm.
fonts don't match, right? It's horrible, horrible, horrible. So for the 2.5 years with her, she drilled down on detail orientation. She's a person that can see the difference between font size 16 and 18. It's horrible,
Attention to detail.
very much. Like if we put the window lines down, it must be exactly the same line, right? Like all of these details. So okay, organize an event. Tell me what's happening at 9 o'clock. Okay, 9:05. Okay, 9:15. Okay, so at 9:30 you're gonna bring them to the washroom. Good. What time are they coming out? How would I know what time they're coming out from the washroom? But she's that kind of a person, right?
Yeah, like you
She-
must know everything at every
yeah.
moment and who's going to do what, right?
Correct. So she shaped me into a much better trainer, a much better person in that sense. So I forever thank her for it. And then one day she decided to retire, and I left. Um, at that time, MAS was going through their retrenchment. So I
Mm.
joined together with a team of people, a team of trainers who trained the retrenchment team for them to be reskilled. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I did that for that duration, slowly rebuilding my corporate.
So you started with managing and then you moved to actually face-to-face training, or you've
Um,
always trained even
I've
when you
always
manage.
trained, even my old business. I've always been public speaking. I won't say training so much, but public speaking.
Public speaking.
And then, of course, the 2 years in network marketing training is an essential part of what we do as a
Yeah, of
leader,
course.
right? And then eventually I came out, set up my first training company. And then after that, I set up my second training company, closed the first, of course. And then now, I've closed the second, and now I'm on the third evolution of the training company. Yeah. It was an interesting journey, but not easy. Lah. I always thank the
Definitely.
country director who helped me become who I am. Yeah.
So talking about training companies, right?
Mm.
So the name of your company,
Mm.
let's go deeper into that, right? Abundant.
Mm.
What, like, how did you come up with that name, and what's the background of that? I'm sure there's a story, right?
Okay. So the whole company is I always call it God given, and that's one reason why the company has no CEO. The CEO is Jesus. And a lot of people ask like, okay, like a lot of people say their company is God given and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
My This is my personal testimony. You see, in my previous company that we have 7 trainers who came together and decided to start a company together.
Mm.
All 7 of us are very alpha, very gung ho,
Dominant.
all of us like very dominating. But we work very well together because we are so confident in each other that
Mm.
we can, although as dominant as we are, I can rest assured knowing that they can handle it. Right. So if you imagine like a group of like really solid fighters going to war
Mm-hmm.
together, right? I mean, I know lah, he's got my back, it's that
Yeah.
certainty of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because we had all this certainty, there's also friction. There's
Definitely.
a lot of
Strong
friction and
characters, right?
correct disagreements. So one day, I told the team I quit. I quit as director of the company. I quit to be in charge of the corporate sales. I'm leaving, right? But I offer to maintain the corporate sales under that company, although I manage the corporate sales on my own. So kind of like I will use the brand together, but I'll do everything on my own, my own hiring, my own people, and everything on my own. And they decided to have a meeting together with me. It was 6:30 in the evening, and they told me that they will not continue that relationship with me. I have to
Mm.
do everything on my own. So I prayed to God and I said, I don't have capital at the time. I don't have like spare capital. Suddenly, like I want to set up a company. So I told God I needed 10,000. And coincidentally, at about 7:30, 8 o'clock, I got a call from my old client for who have now contacted me for over a year. And he said, okay, we're ready to go with that project. And the project fees was 10,000. So capital there, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop that. If it was just that, I would not have said it's God's. I told God, hey, wait a minute, calculation wrong, huh? Because I tithe 10%, which means that I now have 9. I needed
Mm.
10. I asked for 10. You gave me 10, but I tithe 1 to you. I'm short of 1. And I remember praying that at 9:30. At 10:30, and this is December, at 10:30, I got a call from one of my training providers who said, are you available on the 23rd of December? I have a project for you, but it's a short team building, and my budget is only 2,000. You want to do or not? That whole week, I only have 1 day free, which is on the 23rd. And with the 2,000, I now have 12,000. After I tithe, I have my 10,000 with a bit of change left. So I said, hey, thank you, God. This is yours. Now, it doesn't have a name. So I was talking to a friend, I was sharing with him, and I was describing to him what I wanted to build. And out of the blue, the name Abundant Impact came in.
Mm.
Because he asked me, what's the company name? I had no idea. As I started the meeting, I had no idea. And I was talking halfway, and suddenly I said, stop. The name is Abundant Impact. And so I told my company secretary, go and register it. And he says, cannot lah, Soo Hoo. This name is too generic. Sure got people one. You cannot get one. I said, if God decided it to be the name, it will be the name. True
Mm.
enough, when he registered it, there was an abundance impact. So we didn't get abundant impact first. He had to appeal and need to justify that abundance and abundance is two different words. And we got
Mm.
the word abundant impact. So that's how it came about.
Ah, interesting, interesting. So when we talk about abundant impact, right, and
Mhm.
there's a few things that come to mind, especially if you open up Suhu's profile, guys. If you open up LinkedIn right now, search for YH Suhu, you will see at the very top. And if you guys are like me and like to like play around in YouTube, he's got fans. Huh? Someone has created a video of him like in a Superman kind of thing. I forgot to
Oh, that
actually
was a
upload it
nice
in
one.
my.
That was a nice one. Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's like a
Henry did
cartoon
that.
version of Suhu.
Henry is amazing. Henry is amazing. Over the pandemic, he says, "Who I've got? I'm going to send a photographer take a photo of you because I don't have a good photo of you." I said,
Yeah.
"Cannot. Pandemic, no photographer come to my house." He said, "Okay, can you go to the studio?" I said, "Cannot." He said, "Then how am I going to build your personal brand for you?" I said, "I have no clue." He said, "Okay, okay, okay, never mind." Then about 2 weeks later, he said, I got a surprise for you. And he drew, it was beautiful. I just
Yeah.
love it so much. The logo and the picture, Henry Lee, that's the guy's name. Go and search him on social media. He calls himself branding Sifu. He's amazing in capturing the essence. Oh, I love that photo. At least
Yeah.
it makes me look thin.
Yeah, you can actually find a YouTube video with that whole shot prelude into that photo. If you see on
Wow.
Suhu's profile, right? There's a whole short clip YouTube video. Maybe I'll share it later. But what it's not even the picture that draws me in. It's the
Yeah.
words that is all over his profile. I mean, not all over, but in the main part, right? The
Yeah.
banner, or so-called, we say the real
Mm,
estate.
mm, mm,
So we
mm,
all know when we talk about what's happening in the world and all that, right? One of the most prolific or people that has caused quite a lot of controversy in the world is Trump. And then you see plastered there on Suhu's profile,
mm.
impact Trump's income. Of course, we know Trump doesn't mean Trump,
Mm.
but play of words. Talk to us about what you mean by impact Trump's income, and why is that so meaningful for you? Because again, you're coming from a sales background, right? And like if you look back at like your dream desire kind of thing, I want to win 1 million, I want to make that. And why income? I mean, even if someone feels that impact is important, very
Mm.
rarely will they put it on their profile, because then they might be worried that it give people the impression that money is not important. So when I go to Suhu, I pay you less, sort of thing.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So talk to us about that. Impact Trump's income, and why do you put that? Because when we talk about, I mean, those of you who are on LinkedIn and understand branding, right? That banner is like your real estate,
Mm.
right? It's the first thing you see when you open a LinkedIn profile. So tell me why that, and talk to us about it.
Note to self, cannot remove banner anymore. Okay, so why impact Trump's income? Because um, couple of years back, I attended a
I
program by
can't really
Clinton.
hear you,
A
Suhu.
couple of years back, I
Yeah.
attended a program by Clinton Swain, right? And I've done a lot of values work before in my career, in my life.
Mm,
But this is the first time. Clinton Swain is amazing in a lot of ways. He built games that really go deep into the psyche, right? And in one of the games, I realized in my life, I've given up fame, I've given up health, I've given up family, I gave up love, I gave up wealth, I gave up so many things. And one of my core value was impact. So
mm,
in exchange for this impact, I've given up so many things in my life, and it was an eye opener because I never saw it that way. I never saw it in that manner. And when I went home and asked my wife, is it true? Because being my wife is hard. Imagine my phone will never ring. So if you're my wife and you get in an accident, you can't call me,
mm,
right? Um, my like I'm always in classes. I finish class at 5, 6 o'clock, and then I do the paperwork and documentation until about 8, 9 o'clock. And by the time I finish up everything, research and whatever else I need to do, it's already way past midnight. So literally, my wife barely had me for anything. And why is that all for? It's for impact. It's for the impact that I want to leave behind in the world. And your question came in very, very right time, because for the last 2 weeks, something that has been weighing very heavily on my mind was legacy. What is the legacy that we want to leave
mm.
behind?
Leave
You know,
behind.
I've had the income. I've had the income. I've enjoyed the life with that kind of income, and I realized the income doesn't give long lasting legacy unless we know what to do with it.
Correct.
But impact changes the life of not just one person, but changes the life of the people around that person. And if you go even one step deeper, what if we inspire that person to also create impact rather than just be impacted? Then we have multiple levels of impact. And that's what I look for. I look for ways to leverage to create certain result that I want. And one of the results I want is to be able to impact 100 million lives. I can't do that
Mm.
alone. I need to create people who want to create impact.
Impact.
Other create people who want to create more people, who want to create more people, who want to create more people, who want to create
It's
more
like a
impact,
domino effect, right?
like a domino effect. And I think that's the legacy that I want to leave behind. And interestingly, I found that as soon as I started focusing on impact and like really, really aim on impact, the income still comes. The income still comes. Let me ask you a simple question. If you've gone to a restaurant
Mm.
and you had the best, juiciest fried chickens you have ever had in your life, all right?
Mm.
And as you're about to exit, you ask for the bill, and the bill comes, and the bill says pay as you wish. Now, this is the best. The service is the best, cleanliness is amazing, ambiance is out of the world. How much do you think you'll pay for it?
Probably more than what it's worth.
Exactly. And that's what a lot of people miss out on. They are
Yeah.
so focused on the income, 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 and that's what you're gonna get. But
Yeah.
if you focus on what really drives that income, which is in training industry, is the impact, right? The impact, the results that we get. If we
Mm-hmm.
focus on the results, we focus on the impact that we make, we focus on transformation of people, the income is going to come anyway. So impact trumps income.
Definitely spot on. So let's go deeper a bit, right? You talk about 100 million lives. So is this an initiative? Is it a movement? How is it going? And
It's a
can you
tagline
share
that
with us
nobody
some
uses.
stories?
It's or rather, it's a hashtag that only Kyrol and I use.
Yeah, I see
Maslan
Carol
and I
using
are
it
the only
as
two person
well.
who uses it. So it's something that came up one day. I was writing my eulogy. I was in a training program. I was writing my eulogy, and this number 100 million lives came up. And so, how do I track and measure? I don't know yet. What do I build in order for me to achieve it? Um, I initially didn't know yet. I went on a fast and prayer about
Mm.
2 weeks back, and out of the fasting and prayer, there are some decisions I'm making for 2023, which we will be seeing certain programs similar to what I just shared earlier. You had like this great juicy fried chicken, and then you pay as you wish. And
Yeah.
we're going to use the pay as you wish model to create waves of impact. And from there, I want to be able to have my graduates and my students and my trainers go out there and create impact in 100 million lives.
And I think you already do that.
No, yeah.
I think you already do. I mean, at the level of a student,
Yeah.
so one of your students, I feel like the learning never stops,
Mm.
because most times when you go for a training course, you go for a training course, and I come, I see you for 5 days, and you might be really fantastic at what you do, and you impact me, and then I go back and then I start my own life, and it goes. But I feel there's personally as a student, there is a touch point that is always there, so you always remain in our minds all the time. We see you,
Ah!
and there's always that learning. And when you talk about impact, about how people are impacting others, so maybe they might not be using hashtags, but like I noticed, like we are part of a group. I'm part of so one of Suhu's WhatsApp groups for his students, and I noticed it's not just you, but your students are impacting others within the group, and everyone is kind of helping each other, whether when it comes to like referrals, or like in my case I needed someone to help me for research. Like people are always helping each other in the group, and personally I've met a few of them within the group who was so kind to help and things like that. So I think the impact is actually, it does have a domino effect, at least from that micro level. And probably you don't notice it, or you don't realize it because you're in it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you since we've started, you've always talked about God, right? God's role in your business, in the name of your business, in everything that you want to do. When you feel that there's certain milestone or certain project, it's God directed. So tell me how that helps you as a person. right? Your
Mm,
journey, your spiritual journey. How does that help you being uh, having God at the same time? And I think this is a similar question I asked Jeka, but instead of God, I said ethics, right?
mm,
Ethics and business,
mm,
God and business. Like how does it work? I mean, how does it impact you as a business owner, someone
mm.
running business? A lot of people are afraid to say. I mean, they might go to church and they might believe in all this, but I put God on Sunday, one, and two, I don't publicly show that I'm following God and all that because it might impact my. I mean, what's your thoughts on that as well?
As a trainer, right, the biggest challenge has always been religion, race,
Mm,
right? So I lived with that philosophy for many years.
politics.
Yeah, politics, until interesting thing happened. I'm John Maxwell certified, right? And I attended his program. I attended his certification, and it wasn't really a training. It was a 2 day church camp. Why do I say that? Because day one, John comes and tells you, "My God loves you, and tomorrow I want to invite you at 8 o'clock in the morning to come for a special session. I mean, it's optional session. It's a special session where I want to share with you more about how my God loves you." All right. So he
John,
started
what's
with
his
that.
name? John.
John C. Maxwell.
So this is
The
not church. It's not a church program. It's
It's
not
not a
like
church program. Huh? This is John C. Maxwell's trainer certification program.
okay.
Okay.
That's why I had to like listen to the name
To
again. I
process it,
was
right?
like,
Like, is it? Are you talking about the same guy? Yes, I am. John C. Maxwell. I'm one of his certified trainer. He has got this. We call it the IMC, which is technically the last certification, the last program. If you want to be certified by John, you have
mm,
to attend, right?
okay.
And in his Maxwell DNA, the last thing that he will share is "My God loves you." And then he has a second speaker that comes on, all right? Among all the international speakers that John can bring, okay, to talk about leadership, he brings an archbishop, right, to share about
Interesting.
leadership. And of
Very
course,
interesting.
being an archbishop, he'll be preaching as well. And
Yeah.
day two morning, John comes, 8 o'clock, he starts with church worship. Like he has a whole worship band on stage, and then John comes and he preaches. John is still a practicing pastor.
So wait, let me get this straight. Is this program for Christians or
No,
it's like you have all
it's his
kinds of people
actual
there?
certification program. Yeah. Okay. He's got like his thousands to 2,000 of peoples in his
So
certification
this is
program.
definitely not in Malaysia, lah. That's for sure.
No, 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 no. So then if he's in Malaysia, he'll be caught by Jakim by now. So
Correct.
he has his worship team. He comes up and he preaches God's love for you, and he invites you. If you want to know about my God, you want to invite God into your life, put up your hands now and follow me in my prayer. And he actually does a sinner's prayer on the
Yeah,
spot.
yeah.
He has an altar call, and you see like hundreds of people responding to Christ. And I was like, shoots. And then I realized I've seen so many of my Muslim trainers pray openly
Yeah,
in class
yeah, yeah.
before they start. Then I asked myself, I'm not asking them to convert, I'm merely praying.
Mm.
But I pray to myself. Of course, in Malaysia, you don't pray out, right?
Dear
Um,
God,
Dear
today we
God,
bless this training.
I shall pray my God, and you will pray to your God, and and in 3 hours
Yeah,
time, Jackie will come and visit me, right? Like,
yeah.
so I realize that I can take the same gifts in uncovering the seed of human potential, and I make it God centered, and and
Mm.
and so that's what changed a lot of perspective of what I do. If you know me from high school, I like any of my friends who know me from high school, they will not believe what I will be sharing today. I'm the least God fearing person. I'm like an outstanding Christian. When Sunday comes, I'm outside the church standing, right?
Outstanding.
I'm the least God fearing. I'm the least, Bible reading, right? I always tell my pastor, I cannot read Bible one. Bible is so the paper is very thin, the book is very thick, the fonts are very small and double-sided, and it's double column, Can you
Master,
imagine?
now got bigger fonts.
Yeah, yeah,
Got
yeah. They,
pictorial
they
ones
always
also
tell me
now.
the same thing. They say, Suhu, you can also read manga one. Got Bible in manga also,
Yeah, nowadays.
Yeah, and it's like I'm never a Bible reading guy, right? But I realize, God has been never ceasingly impacting and molding my life to where I am. In fact, that's where I got my tattoos in the most prominent places, right? It's in there are two on my calf, right? There are two on my forearm. People go, like, you're gonna have four tattoo. Why don't you just put it on your chest and back, and then you just put a shirt on and cover, right? I'm like, no, it has to be where the most prominent places are, right? So, and that's how it is, and I think
And you've not got any opposition or business advisors and people coming
a
and
lot
telling
of
you
people, even
no,
the
you
one,
shouldn't.
yeah, a lot of people have come and tell me, no, you shouldn't do that.
So what keeps
You
you
should
so
talk about
called on the
God.
straight path? What keeps you still on that path even though?
The company's God's. The
Yeah.
company is God's. The business is God's. And we at one point, I think it was last year or 2 years back, we got a visit from our LHDN friends. It was a six-figure penalty, and we don't have six figures,
Yeah.
so we prayed, and He provided. Like so, we I at the bottom of the pit in 2020, like training was mad. I was offered, if I were to switch allegiance and support certain movements, I would have been 1.7 million richer in contracts. But it was not the right movements. It's not the right
Mm-hmm.
thing. And when you made an analogy, when you spoke to Jager, you talk about ethics and business. And when you're asking me about God and business, ethics and God is two very different things. Ethics may not give you
Definitely.
money, but
Yeah,
God
yeah,
will bless you with abundance.
yeah.
So if you were to ask me to choose between ethics and business, I might choose business. But if you ask me to choose between God and business, that's a no comparison.
But then if you have God, then ethics kind of
Definitely is there.
follows you through, right?
Definitely. Yeah, 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 yeah. Definitely is there. But God will definitely be able to bless. If you just have ethics, ethics is not going to bless you with abundance.
Definitely, definitely. So something I have to talk to you about.
Hmm.
If you open your profile or if you Google Soo Hoo, you always see him master trainer, won multiple awards, and you have a very colorful when it comes to awards and things like that.
Hmm.
That being said, a lot
Hmm.
of people, when you talk about awards, like, oh, our company won this award, or even personally, people go like, yeah, 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 must be he paid for it.
Hmm.
And I mean, that's one school of thought. And they have the
Yep.
other, right? If you don't have an award, then you're not good enough. I mean, what's your
Hmm.
thought being a person who receives awards?
Yeah.
What's your thought on this?
Okay. So first of all, with all integrity and honesty, I've never paid for an award. So you'll be wondering, how is it that he gets a award he doesn't have to pay for, and I get offered the same award but I have to pay for it?
Mm.
And the question is, what do you bring to the table? Every award is a business, right? So the question then is, what do you bring to the table to these award givers that makes them think, hey, wait, I'm going to give you an award. I don't want you to pay me anything because you are bringing something to the table for me.
Mm.
In life, most people are takers. I want take, 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 take. You want a what? I want. Do give it. So that's the first thing. What do you bring to the table? Now, the award that I really value, one of it is from MSPC, Malaysian Service Provider Confederation. Got money cannot buy because they only gave out an award one time for their Asia Pacific conference. They
Mm.
gave it to one person from each industry, and there are total about 15 of us. Why do I value that? Because that award got me a seat in the professional services nexus for MPC, for Malaysia Productivity Corporation. which then during the pandemic became one of the advisory think tank for the SOP in Malaysia.
Mm.
So I value that a lot. A second one was, of course, the Indian awards. I mean, Indian awards, a lot of Malaysians will pay for it, and they ask, why would I want to pay for it? I tell you, it's very simple reason. Number one, it's a cheap award. It's not a very expensive one to be nominated. And more importantly is this, think about who else is receiving the awards in that ceremony. These are your target clients, the HR managers, the HR directors. They are representing their companies to go and collect their award. They have paid
Mm.
a lot. Their companies have paid a lot to get these awards. So who are you rubbing shoulders with? And if you submit a proposal and I submit a proposal, and the company has an award, has received an award from ABC Award, and I've received an award from ABC Award, you can't say my quality of training is worse than the other one because we share the same award, right? And if you are the HR director who received an award and I'm a trainer who received an award, we will be going to the same award ceremony together. We will have dinner together. We'll have networking together. We have
So,
fraternizing together.
does this mean having awards is
Networking.
it's something that you should strive for,
Yes, you
paid for
should.
or not?
Of course, good quality ones, lah. Good quality ones. Now, what do I mean by good quality ones? Recently, one of my trainer friends shared with me, training provider. He's paid 60,000 for an award. It's the most expensive award in Malaysia. 60,000. And so I said, "Wow, 60,000 is a lot of investment." He says, "Soo Hoo, but you must remember, the other people who went for this award also paid 60,000. Who do you want to network with? People who can afford to pay 60,000 or people who cannot afford to pay 60,000? Now, does the award say they are good or not? It doesn't say anything. It merely
Mm.
says, that they're willing to invest in that award, right? Does it also mean there are no awards that are genuine? No. There
Mm.
are awards that are very genuine. There are awards that actually measure and judge and analyze. But would these awards also have a nomination fee? Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
definitely.
who's going to pay the judge to go and judge you? Who's going to pay for the auditors, right? Somebody has
Mm.
to pay somewhere. Who's going to pay for the dinner? Somebody has to pay somewhere, right? So if you say there's awards that are completely free, there's none. Except of course the Indian awards. That's the only one that I know has a completely free
Yeah,
structure,
yeah.
right? The rest of it don't.
But like you said, lah, it's not completely free. I mean, someone's paying for it somewhere, whether sponsorship, but
Correct.
definitely there's a cost. There's a value
Involved.
exchange. There is
Correct.
a value
So yeah,
exchange.
a lot of trainers say, I also got this award I didn't take. What it tells me is either you're too cheapskate to take, or you are not marketing enough, your brain is not thinking enough as a business owner to take, all
Yeah.
right, or you can't afford lah. One of the three, you know.
Mm.
Does the having an award mean you're good? It does not. You're
Mm.
good, you're good. You're not good, you're not good, right? Having 100 awards and you're not good, you're still not good. You're a multi-awarded trainer who's not good.
So there can be those
Oh
kind
yeah,
of trainers as
definitely.
well.
Of course, of course, of course.
So if you talk about awards, I cannot run away from talking about certification. So
Sure.
is certification very important, especially in the
Again,
training
same.
industry?
Again, same.
Same thing,
I,
lah.
I hold the license fee to I hold the license in Malaysia for Brian Tracy. Okay, Brian
Mm.
Tracy certification programs. Um, I hold Asilium, one of them. I hold Asilium. I work together with people on other license and certification bodies. All right.
Yeah.
Does it mean that this having this certificate is good? Ask yourself honestly. Every trainer in Malaysia who's HRDC certified is HRDC certified trainer. Are they all good?
Yeah.
Okay. And then if we don't say HRDC, we say some international accreditation. We say
Yeah, yeah.
NLP certified. Does it
Not
mean
necessarily
that
all are
every
good.
NLP? Yeah, does it? It doesn't. So what are certifications? Certifications are an association, an organization
Mm.
who decided to set certain standards, right? I've seen a certification body with only 8 members on the board, and they
Yeah.
also have certification body. There's one in somewhere near my house. I don't want to say the location, right? But they issue 30 or 40 different mental health certification programs. Does it make them having a certification from them, does it make you really competent? No, you're
Mm.
competent, you're competent. What is the
Okay.
certification for? Certification is your backside cover. In case anything happen, I got a cert,
To
right?
say, oh, I'm
To say,
certified in this.
correct.
Yeah.
So it's not
Same
for
like your
you to
degree and
cover.
all this lah at the same
Correct.
time.
It's not for you to cover, but it's for your client. If anything,
Mm.
if the client engages you and you screw up, the client can tell the boss, look, he got certification. That's all the certification is. Does it mean you're competent? No. I've met so many trainers who are so competent, but they were not certified by HRDC or
Yeah, yeah,
otherwise.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially those days, right? There's not that many
Even
certification, not
now,
many access to it. Yeah,
correct. Even now,
yeah.
one of the richest and best coach in the world, Tony Robbins. Do you think he's got a coaching certification? In fact, if he goes to ICF to be certified, I think he will fail, right? But is he
Yeah,
good in
yeah,
what he does? Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Very good point. I think this is something that people need to hear because, I mean, coming from the education background as well, people always just assume if I do a degree, if I do a PhD, I said, oh, you see the flow of PhD, how come he's like this? I say, it doesn't mean the person gets a PhD or master's is good. He might be, but there's so many varying degrees of quality, like what you said, right? But I
Yeah,
agree that sometimes getting certain certifications, the value is more than the certificate itself. The
mm,
value is more in the networking. Like in my case, me taking the certification from you is more of the after I won't say after sales service, but after it, like the value is even
yeah.
more because
A
it's
lot,
like who you meet, the
mm.
network.
A lot of people say, NLP certification should be like 10 days, 15 days, 30 days.
Yeah,
Originally, it was 30 days.
yeah,
But
correct.
can you imagine in today's world, if you're going to run a 30-day certification, I think I'm going to have like zero students. You know, nobody's going to come.
I mean, who's going to
It,
give you leave for 30 days? Even
correct.
5 days is
Even
difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and even if you run it by weekend basis, for example, over 5 weekends, that's 10 days. Some people
yeah,
run 10, 15, 20 days. But I tell them I run a lifetime program. Lifetime. With what Phil is doing. Phil is an amazing guy, right? With what he's doing right now, the fraternity, the graduates are meeting every week to practice on the
yeah.
techniques they learn. They're meeting every week to learn new techniques, to work with each other on different things that they have learned. So can you imagine, you come for 5-day class, but you continue to learn for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Where got such program in Malaysia?
That part I have to agree. Which brings me to my next question, right? The whole process, since you've got like so many certifications and multiple things under your belt, right? How important do you think this whole, because I know you talk about it quite a bit, talking about relearning and learning and relearning, learning and relearning. How has that made you the trainer that you are, or even individually, right?
Mm. So I have a policy for myself and also for my team of trainers. Every year we need to go for one certification, either certification or licensing program. Okay, every year we need to go for at least 1 to 2 personal development program.
Mm.
Now, over the pandemic, I've been very lenient, because there's not that many that they can attend,
Yeah,
right? Um, but now that post-pandemic, coming 2023, I'm going to impose a condition again. It's not about attending my class, it's about going out and attending other trainers' class. So you can learn from different perspectives, you can learn from
yeah.
different angles, different stuff, different things, different techniques. There's so many things out there for them to continuously learn. And if we do that, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit to what we can do.
Definitely. I remember sitting in, I have to tell you all this, right? Although it's like internal, I have to tell you this. I'm sure you won't mind. I hope you won't mind. When we went for master's class, you know what the first, like imagine I don't really know Master Soo Hoo. I'm going and sitting in his class. Of course, I've heard many things about him. Sitting in his class and he's saying, you guys are free to go and learn from other people as well. Go and try. After you finish this, go and do this. And I mean, very rarely a trainer will say, I've trained you in this. Now go and find someone else and go get trained with him. They'll go like, no, this is the way, my way, and the true way, and this is the best program. So I get it when you say the importance of different perspectives, and I think you practice as quite. And the last one, we are down to 10 minutes, and I think this is very interesting. I don't know whether you want to share with us or not, because I don't know whether it's something internal, but you've talked about this quite a few times. I can't remember if it's internal or externally, but I remember you talking about it a few times. You talked about this whole rock star night.
Hmm. Okay.
Would
So
you be able to
Rockstar,
share?
yeah, no problem. Roxana is not my program. Roxana
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
program by Clinton Swing.
Correct.
Clinton is one of my mentors. I love him to bits, right? He's one of the most underrated international trainer I know of. Like you have heard a lot of these like big names, and they do great work. But Clinton is probably one of the most underrated program. And in fact, you know what? I'm gonna hunt down the link of this podcast, right? And I'm gonna give anyone who visits this link an invite to his program. He's got a program coming up. He's got a free program coming up. And I've asked him, why do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
give this program for free?
Free.
It's so
Yeah.
much value. Why do you give it
When
for
you
free?
told us also, we were like very surprised.
Yeah, and I wait. The first question is, how much upselling are you gonna do? I mean, if somebody is gonna give you something for free, there must be a catch, right?
Something you're gonna sell, right?
Yeah, and he doesn't do any upselling except for like half an hour and on the last day after 3 days of immersive learning and growth. And I've asked him why he does that and why do I do Rockstar Night with him? Because he's so underrated. He does amazing work, but the problem is he does it all through immersive games where the transformation happens from inside out and
Mm.
he doesn't know how to put it into words because you can't describe the transformation. Now, if I were to rewind myself to before meeting him, I think I
Yeah.
was a decent trainer already. I mean, I used to get like 4.8, 5 out of 5 consistently. I won't say very consistently, lah, but at least 7, 8 times before I met him, 7, 8 times out of my career, right? Like
Yeah.
participants, the whole class giving you 5 out of 5, right? It was pretty decent results. But I was still very much in the head when I deliver. It was very much it is a it's a training lah, right? It's not really internalized change. And when I went for this rockstar night, it's rockstar night is where we perform like a rock star.
Master,
And
describe to us what
yeah,
it's like. How
so,
do you
so
feel? What's the atmosphere like?
yeah, imagine it is night. That's why it's called rockstar night, right? And you're a rock star and you're performing.
So
That's
when
how
you
I can
say
say.
rockstar, that means you get into full gear.
Oh yeah, full gear. Everything is full gear. Everything with Clinton in the advanced programs is full gear. Right down to pirate night, we're dressed as pirates. Rockstar night, we're dressed like rockstar. Okay. The reason why we don't say a lot about rockstar night is because a lot of us are not very decent on rockstar night. But we're rock stars, right? We're gonna rock the night away. And why is it so powerful? Because it changes an internal. You see, if you go to any concert, right? The rock concerts, the rock star, he owns the stage. There's this
Yeah.
beingness about a rock star, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
that stage is his. And
Mm.
that's exactly what Clinton instills in us. When we're on stage, we're on stage. We own it from inside out. And that transformation, wow. When I saw myself after and before, I fell in love with me. Ha! Sounds very arrogant, I know.
But it's important because I mean, even though it seems like something very simple, right? Falling in love with yourself is something that most people don't do or have a very difficult time saying that.
Yeah.
That I
And you
love
know,
myself is something. I mean, even me in my early days, I mean, I think only maybe the last few years I can say that. If not, like, if you speak to most teenagers or young people, I will be a lot of young people, right? They will never look, no matter how, Master, I can tell you, like if you look at the physical side, like beauty, no matter how beautiful they are or handsome they are, they don't think they're good enough, even with all the so-called how the world looks at them, still they don't think they're good enough. So that love thing, even though it seems like the most simple thing, like how can you not love yourself, it seems like so trivial, right? To say that, I go to this program and I feel like I love myself. And even that laughter, when you say that, it's like, I think in Asia we taught that it's not okay to love yourself, it's not okay to be proud about loving yourself.
yeah.
Even in us that has,
I'm going to stop you
I
there for
think,
one thing.
yeah.
In 2023, That's exactly what I'm launching. Um,
Ah.
and for those of you who don't know this, Cheryl is the one interviewer I've ever had who never gave me any question, never told me what she wants to ask me. She says, I'm going to surprise you with it. And I'm like, okay, right. So this is totally unscripted. I have no clue we're going to even bring this up. In 2023, I normally don't work with youth. I normally don't work with youth. But in 2023, one of the result of my fasting and prayer 2 weeks back is that in 2023, I'm going to launch a program directed at youth between the age of 16 to 25.
Mm.
I don't like to work with younger than that. I can't click with them well enough. I can't connect with them well enough. But within 16 to 25, um, particularly youth from underprivileged communities, particularly if I am able to secure enough leads. I want to target the orphans who are turned out away from the orphanages because they have reached 18. Yeah, like in
Okay.
Malaysia,
Yeah, the
they're only in
age.
orphanages until 18.
They've
So
aged
in the
out. Yeah.
orphanage, most of their life is regimented. At this time you cook, at this time you eat, at this time you do this. And then suddenly from 18 to 23, they have no regime. You're free to do whatever you want. You're an adult already, right? And so a lot of them go through soul searching, and unfortunately, what they find is a lot of crime, a lot of self blame, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of a lot of challenges. And what I want to do in 2023 is to build a program that helps them focus outward. I find that a lot of people who have this, like, I cannot love myself, I cannot this one, what they actually have is they have this spotlight turned on themselves. You see, when you turn the spotlight on yourself, the spotlight is going to show all the glare, all the pimple here that's popping out. Is going to show all the flaws in us because the spotlight is on us. And the more we keep the spotlight on us, the more we see how disadvantaged we are. We have the wrong race, of the wrong religion, of the wrong gender, wrong upbringing, wrong everything. We see all the flaws, we will never be able to love ourselves because the camera is on us, the spotlight's on
Yeah.
us, seeing all the flaws in us. But what if we turn the spotlight out, right? We turn the spotlight out and we focus outward. So this program is designed for the youth to change their internal spotlight, change it outward, focus on how they can help more people. Because guess what? As soon as you are able to help someone else, the spotlight's no longer on you. You don't see your flaw. You start to see the thing, and yeah, that you can fall in love with yourself.
Yeah.
That they have value to the society, that they can help other people. And I want to create a whole new community of people continuously learning, supporting, growing from that level, from that perspective. That's what I want to do.
Because when you help others, actually you're helping yourself. Just that we don't realize that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a lovely way to end the show today because we are almost at 9 o'clock actually. I told you
Yeah.
1 hour will go very fast. So thank you so much, Master, for
My
joining us
pleasure.
tonight. I know you have a very busy schedule as you mentioned earlier today. I hope for your wife will have more time uh, on your hands and your kids. You'll have more time on your hands. So thank you so much for taking the time, and I hope you recover fully from COVID and get more energy eventually. I think nowadays all of us will probably have to go through COVID at least once in our lifetime. It's like our chop for this generation. But
I think so too.
thank you so much. You have a
My
good night,
pleasure.
and thanks to
You too.
everyone. Someone said I need to fall in love with myself too. So good night. I'll see you
Good night.
backstage.
Bye bye.
Bye. Good night, everyone.